welcome back. Dr. Disrespect decided to stream again after his vacation / hiatus, and the stream got 3 million views. I'm going to take my time with this because he doesn't talk about the entire thing for too long, so the video should not be too long, but I don't want to feel rushed. Sometimes when I make videos, I feel like who is going to watch like multiple hours of someone dissecting something? Yeah, there are people that watch those videos, but I don't feel like being rushed, you know?
This is the date.
So just a quick note. I've skipped the beginning, like the intro. It's like it's a professional company making this stuff. It's like kind of impressive. But yeah, I mean, he got popular because of those green screen stuff that he was doing. He's still doing those things. So I can imagine the first 23 minutes, it's like, oh, great, he's back. It's like how it was before, many years ago, and how it has always been. We can finally move on. So I totally get that. There is something to say. Some people criticize him for staying in character while doing this. There are different ways of looking at this because he is turning it into a stream. So he's like doing what he has always done, which is play video games in character. I wouldn't consider this an apology because there's no apology in this one, actually. It's more defending himself, which is fine. He's allowed to defend himself. But we're also allowed to look into that defense and see if it makes sense. But I get the point of how are people that are not your fans ever going to take you seriously when you're like discussing these type of things while in character? Because you could also dress like the character and not talk like the character, right? But they're also like, that kind of ruins the character. Like nobody has ever seen Dr. Disrespect with these sunglasses and the fake hair actually talking like a normal person. He's always doing the weird talking and stuff. So fine, he's doing it in character. I'm not too surprised. I get that he's doing it in character. I get that he's always staying in character now, because also staying in character, kind of the association now is with the character and not really with your normal face. So everywhere if you go to Google or if you're going to YouTube, most people are not showing his eyes, right? They show him with this, with these sunglasses and the fake hair. So, all right, let's regardless, I get both perspectives. Personally, I would lean more towards just doing it as you and just uploading a video. But there are a lot of benefits of doing it like this and also making it part of a big stream where you just play video games. And at the beginning, he mentioned that he's going to reapply for monetization on YouTube. I have to admit, I think YouTube's monetization is kind of weird. I know they pulled monetization for Russell Brand. I don't think the allegations came out and he denied them, right? I don't think YouTube should be allowed to just demonetize people because of allegations and stuff like that. In this case, he did admit to stuff, right? He did tweet something out and remove the word minor and put it back in, which will come up later in this video as well. So I understand that the platform has an option to say, you know what, that is already bad enough for us to do this. But to be honest, YouTube is monetizing way worse channels that are actively teaching people to hate. Like Dead Domain, I think, uploaded a video. I do believe that that was about someone that is using YouTube with more than 100K subscribers, just creating some shitty videos of like the woke left is ruining games and this and that, and then next to that, like during the streams and stuff like that, he's saying really messed up shit. But yeah, YouTube is enabling a lot of bad stuff, and then the monetization of Dr. Disrespect. Yeah, I don't think they should just that easily just take it away, you know? Yeah, I don't think they should do that. So I'm happy to admit that.
We'll do what we need to do.
He's going to reapply 15th of September.
I enjoy my time here on YouTube. You know, we've built a nice, strong community for years.
I get like the community thing, like, hey champs, he's going to talk to people like, hey champs, yeah, you guys are my champs, right? Like, champs. He's just some guy who entertained you, right? Who entertained you, and that is like dealing with bullies as well, but then in a good way, in a way where he's not suffering, he's actually growing. But like at the end of the day, he's just entertaining you. And for me, this parasocial relationship between a streamer and their fans is just so weird. You know, it's like, I get that you might have had some connections to other people. Maybe you went to a meetup or whatever. I get that you can get new friendships out of these communities. But to me, it's really weird for people to be so invested, you know, in someone else, regardless of whether it's a singer, whatever, an athlete. It's just weird to me to be too fascinated with someone. But constantly saying, champs, we have a great community. If you take a step back and look at what it actually is, he's a business, right? He's an entertainer. He turned it into a business, and then he quickly found out how to monetize this stuff. Companies started sponsoring him. He got a lot of money. Then something bad happened, the Twitch ban, right? And he pretended for the longest time that he had no idea why it happened, right? And then someone tweeted out, an ex-employee from Twitch, what it was about. And it was because he was using whispers to send messages to a minor. And I'm going to assume that you know this backstory, right? Let's see how he responds.
This is where we started. 16 years ago? 2008, I think. You know? I like my time here. And I like the community. We've got the best, realest.
This doesn't mean anything. We got the realest community. What does that even mean? He's just leaning so much into it. Leaning into, you know, it's this parasocial relationship that he has with his fans. Right, champs? Come on, champs.
Gaming community.
The realest gaming community. What does that even mean, dude? What do you mean, the realest gaming community? What does it mean to be a real gaming community? You do realize that a gaming community is not that impressive, right? It's just a community of people that like video games. Do you know how many people like video games? Are you telling me this was the realest gaming community? It has no meaning. It's just people that look up to him, and he entertains them, and he helped a lot of people probably to forget about stuff that was bothering them. Like the type of content that he makes, I think it's kind of easy to pull people out of that stuff, right? It's very active. He's very, very out there. So yeah, I can imagine watching him that you kind of forget other stuff. And there are creators that are not like that, where you watch, when you're watching them, you need to really think about stuff, and you can't think about other stuff, and then you can't because you're thinking about other stuff, so you're like, I'll watch this video later. He makes videos that help you forget about shitty stuff in your life. And that is what that sense of community came from. Like, he brought people together, and there are like other people with similar stuff going on in their lives. And simply watching him, like, I can imagine someone being sick at the hospital, maybe as a kid, and just watching his videos and forgetting about being in the hospital, even if it's like for 5 minutes. That has value. I get that. And I get that such a person would consider this community to be super valuable, because it's not just watching Dr. Disrespect, but it's also engaging with the other people through Discord or Reddit or whatever. And like, you can actually get a membership to his champions community or something. When he responds to you in chat, I get that does something with you, especially if he has a lot of viewers, right? Like, when I am chatting with someone that is streaming to like 150 people, even that person acknowledging my existence in that chat kind of makes me feel happy. Like I'm not just speaking into the void. Like with a lot of these chats in streaming sessions, you are screaming in the void. Like most people are not reacting to you. It takes a while for people to react to you. And after a while, people recognize names. It's like, hey, it's that person again. You know, and they start following that person on YouTube or whatever. So all these relationships exist. But this can happen through different types of communities. But to claim that his community is the realest gaming community, that doesn't mean anything.
Right? The Champions Club. And
It annoys me. It annoys me when he's addressing this community that mostly consists of kids. Let's be honest. There are adults there, but most of the adults that have found out about him when they were kids and they kept watching because they think it's entertaining. To me, it is not entertaining. Like, I don't think his content is entertaining at all. I find it kind of cringe. But I'm allowed to, right? And people can have their own opinion. Maybe I was too old to like this. I don't know if I would have liked it if I was really young. Maybe I would. I'm happy to admit that maybe if I was really young and he became a thing, but I'm actually probably older than the guy. So yeah, that didn't happen, right? So, all right, champs. So he has 3 million views. So keep that in mind. Those 3 million views, if you look at the number of likes, it's like 100K, 150K. Most of the views are coming from people like me that are just interested in, okay, he came back online. What did he say? They're following the case. That's it, right? The follow-up streams where he doesn't talk about this stuff will just be lower. Like, he's not going to get 3.5 million views every time he uploads a video now or streams. He has probably lost some people. But also, if I look at the comments and everything, everyone... I cannot say everyone. Most people seem to accept what he is saying and think that, you know, it was all a big nothing burger. And I kind of disagree. And I have some critiques as well. So I will share those as we go along.
We've built it on this platform. And if there's an opportunity...
All you had to do to build it is like, just be entertaining, create the Discord, create a Reddit or whatever, and people start joining and give them a space where they can engage with each other and sometimes mention their name. And what he did also was like interact with people off stream. The chat, the messages that he sent to that miner, which he used the word miner himself, right? We'll get to that later. Those didn't happen during stream. He was not chatting with that person on stream. So he was engaging with people, and that person was very young. And this is kind of messed up. Like, why would you directly engage with a minor when you're an adult and you're making... My camera is not centered above my screen. And you're making content that is primarily consumed by children. All right? So there is something weird about that. Like, one would think that an adult would realize, like, hey, I should not engage with these kids directly. I just shouldn't because, I mean, come on. And what I have to do is, like, if I engage with them, it should be somewhere relatively public where everyone can see it, which prevents me from saying stuff that I'm not supposed to say. The fact that you even need something like that to prevent you, like, you know what I'm saying, right? Like, if it's in a private like channel in your Discord or whatever, and you're giving them access, and it's like it's better to have that out in the open. If the parents want to take a look, like they should be able to just take a look. They should have access. So, but he decided to engage with people one-on-one. So if you do that, it's kind of important to make sure that that person is an actual adult, right? Especially if we're going to talk about stuff that are like kind of, rated for adults. And he was making he was having small talk about and making jokes about stuff like he shouldn't make jokes about with minors. Like, that should not happen.
To reapply for partnership, and there's a date that's been presented to us, then I'm going to take it. In the meantime, Like,
It's interesting because effectively nothing is going to change. The allegations are there. He's sharing his side of the story, but like officially nothing has changed compared to the moment where they decided to take away his monetization. And he's saying, we're going to reapply for monetization. Like he's streaming now, like, hey, I've done some content. I did not violate the terms. And the question is YouTube going to, is YouTube going to forgive him? Is YouTube going to, because nothing effectively has happened. So the reason YouTube used to demonetize him, the arguments that they used, they have not changed. So actually, if YouTube monetizes him again, they're basically saying like, hey, if you do this type of stuff, and you even admit to it, right? There is a degree where he admitted to stuff. That was bad enough for them. I think the demonetization came after his tweet, because at first it was just a tweet. But like the reason why it didn't remain just a tweet is because he responded to it. He responded to someone else quote tweeting it. Like, I'm assuming you guys know the backstory, right? So nothing has changed. So it's basically saying, hey, YouTube, you made a mistake, which I understand that he thinks that, and he's trying to do the monetization again, and you can apply for it. But YouTube is going to look really bad if they monetize him again. Because then it's like, the repercussions are basically, yeah, we'll take away your money for some time and then we'll give it back. Well, nothing has changed.
we always done. We've always stayed in our lane.
He's now talking about us. This is why I'm going to take my time with this video. Even though the part where he talks about these things is like only half an hour, I need to take my time. It's very deliberate. He's saying we've always stayed in our lane. Like champions community. We never did anything we shouldn't have done. That's not true. He did something he regrets having done, right? There was the cheating as well. So, no, you don't always stay in your lane. But then positioning it as we have never done anything wrong, he is making every member of his community part of this problem, right? Like, how can they punish not just me, but you? They're punishing you by demonetizing me, right?
We'll stay in our lane.
Again, it's us. We are going to stay in our lane. Nothing they did was wrong. It's not about your community. It's not about your champions community. During all of this, no scandals came out about the champions community having weird fetishes and stuff like that and doing inappropriate stuff. It was just you and the whispering of a minor. That's it, right? So you're including the champions community while it has nothing to do with them. That person you messaged was part of the champions community, but that person was a minor, so it's not that strange that a minor has, is engaging maybe in something, in a conversation that they should not be engaging with. The expectation is that the adult is going to prevent themselves from doing that. That's my dog. I don't know if you hear it, but he has a toy that makes a squeaky sound. It's super cute. So it's not the champions community. It's all you. And then turning it into a thing of us is just really very deliberate and messed up. It's showing me that you've literally, and I'm addressing to you, Dr. Disrspect, you have not learned anything. The defense you're going with and how you're setting everything up, it's very childish. And I can imagine it working when most of your community consists of children. But I'm really hoping that the adults kind of let this sink in, right? How he's approaching this.
And continue to just put on a show.
That's all I'm doing. I'm only putting on a show and messaging a minor inappropriate stuff, which is what he has already
For
admitted.
almost 4
So the question is, how are you going to fix that now in this video? It's fascinating.
years of that arbitration, all parties were not allowed to speak publicly about the case.
But in the meantime, he did claim that he had no idea, right? So while he agreed to not talk about the case, he did kind of talk about the case by saying, I have no idea what it is about. And that was not true. So I think that's important to keep in mind.
I respected those rules.
One could say that you respected those rules by not talking about the case and saying like what it was about, but lying about what it was, like that you didn't know what it was about for years. It's kind of weird. That's not, I guess maybe that is still abiding by the rules, but like you're lying that you didn't know.
My lawsuit against Twitch was eventually resolved, as you all know. But even then, as part of the settlement, all parties were still prohibited from speaking publicly about the case or the settlement.
I can totally understand from his perspective also that this would benefit him, right? Not talk about this stuff.
However, if one
Kind of curious, the reflection in his sunglasses, like how is he doing that? Is that actual reflection, but it looks like something virtual? I don't know. Yeah.
side
Yeah, it's the same
violated that
headphone.
confidentiality, then the other side could respond. And again, champs, again, I respected all the confidential obligations. But apparently Twitch's own disgruntled employees didn't feel the need to abide by those same obligations.
I mean, are you really surprised? Ex-employees, they left the company. Are they going to get sued? You know? That is a risk that can happen because they are not working for that company anymore. Right? If they can get sued, then sue them, right? Twitch can sue them, you can sue them. So yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be surprised that this comes out eventually when like a significant number of people are aware of something. It could have, like, even the person that said it said like everyone already knew, and like they had evidence of him like saying I'm going to say it if you buy tickets to my concert, because he has like a band or whatever, like I don't care, but like the point he made then after was like, well, everyone already knew, so it was kind of a joke, like I'm going to tell you something you already know. So like a lot of people were aware, and then it's not that strange for someone to just speak up. It could have been someone else that talked to this person and that wouldn't share their name, and then it would still turn into a thing. I can guarantee you it would still turn into a thing. Someone can say, hey, I talked to a former Twitch employee, that person told me the following. I'm not allowed to say who it is, but it is, a Twitch employee. It was a Twitch. And then people have to believe that person, but like it could turn into a thing. Right? So, yeah. I get being upset that it came out, but it's not that surprising.
Cody Connors.
Put all the blame on Coney Connors. Like, it could have been someone else. Like I said, a lot of people were already aware.
Ex-Twitch employee wasn't even involved. Leaks Twitch's reported reason. Years later. Cody.
Why, Cody?
Why do this?
From the perspective of disrespect, I get that it's like, hey, everyone was happy, it was all dealt with, and this and that. I also get that it's something that a lot of people are still curious about. So, I don't know. There is something to say. There's something to be said for someone like that former Twitch employee to say, you know what? I think this is so messed up. I think people deserve to know. So, again, I understand from his perspective, it's like, hey, everyone was happy, but like, no. One could say, hey, we need to protect minors from someone that is sending inappropriate messages to them. So I'm going to expose that reason so everyone is aware. Then it can be discussed and he can defend himself or whatever, and then people can decide for themselves. Are there parents right now that have decided that their kids cannot watch Dr. Disrespect anymore? Probably. And they're probably grateful that this stuff came out.
What was the point?
I just made the
This
point.
was settled professionally.
Yeah, but one could say, hey, the public deserves to know, because parents should have the option to decide for themselves if this is bad enough for them to not want their kids to be part of your champions community. Right? And even for kids themselves to think about whether they want to be part of that community.
And you, knowing how black and white the internet is, you decided, you fucking rat.
Makes you look really, really childish. I think it's immature to do this, to include all of this stuff, but it shows how you cannot control your anger. I understand you're pissed off, but there was something there. It's not like there was nothing there. There was something there, it was icky, and yeah, some people think this is something that everyone needs to know so they can form their own opinion, because it's a sensitive topic. So yeah, calling him a rat and saying you ruined everything.
To leak the reported reason Twitch banned me in 2020. Well, I mean, for what? Cody? Why?
See, it looks like, I don't know if he's like not intelligent enough or that he's deliberately pretending to be dumb. Obviously, you can come up with arguments on the spot, like I just did, on why such a topic, such a reason for getting banned, should be disclosed. A lot of people are upset with Twitch more than they are with Dr. Disrespect. Right? That toy is driving me crazy.
Did you not know the repercussions from spewing lies about the two-time?
The assumption is that Cody should have assumed that it was a lie, when it wasn't a lie. If it was, you would have just responded with "it's a lie." You did not respond with "it's a lie."
Did you not know the repercussions of accusing me, Cody Connors? You see, you don't know shit, and it was obvious from your...
If he didn't know shit, it would have been very easy for you to just completely ignore him or just say, you don't know shit. And people would have moved on. Right?
Tweet. You didn't have any first-hand knowledge of my dispute
You don't need to have first-hand knowledge about something. If you're talking to other Twitch employees, right? And they tell you, hey, this is what happened. And you believe them, and they're telling you, like, don't tell anyone that I told you, but like that is the reason, and I actually have access to that information and whatever. Or you talk to someone that says that they talk to someone. When it's inside a company, like, people are talking, like, stuff gets out. So it got out within Twitch, and this person heard about it during lunch or at the coffee corner when getting water. People talk. Right? Like, there's a confidentiality, expected confidentiality with work stuff, but people also realize that they talk to their partner at home. Stuff gets out. Right?
You said that I got banned from Twitch because I was sexting a minor through Whisper's messages? Do you even know what the legal definition of sexting is? I do.
He's not going to give us the definition, right? And just saying, like, I know what the legal definition is of sexting. It's like, it's not making you look better. Like, the legal term, I can make an assumption on what it means, right? I think the Cody Connor can probably make an assumption about what it means, and it will be very close.
And yeah, I used Twitch as Whispers, but trust me, I wasn't sexting anyone.
Okay. So he says the legal definition of sexting, what I was doing did not fall on that under that legal definition. Interesting. Okay.
You also said...
Why didn't you just deny it? Why did you tweet out that you sent inappropriate messages? If it's inappropriate, but it's about like farting and stuff, why wouldn't you say, hey, it was about farting and stuff? Right?
The word minor, Cody. I even made sure that word was emphasized in my statement.
This is the dumbest thing I think he said in this statement, because people caught him changing, like removing the word minor, and then obviously, clearly realizing that edits are actually visible, which I didn't know because I hate Twitter, I don't use it. But yeah, and then when realizing like, oh, I took the word minor out, probably because legal told him to do so, and then he put it back in. You do not emphasize, like, his claim now is like, I was emphasizing the word minor by editing it out and then editing it back in. Like it's blinking, you know? Like it's on your screen, like bling, 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 minor, minor. Like, dude, you did not emphasize shit. You included it, you regretted including it, you removed it, realized that people could see that you removed it, and you added it back in. It went back and forth. That's weird. And now he's just flipping it around and saying, I actually emphasized it, because he knows people are like hyper-focused on that word. So it's like, I deliberately included it there. I made it blink by removing it.
Edited, etc. Just to make sure these so-called journalists would pick up on it.
This is like the dumbest thing. Like here, and now I'm speaking to you, the Dr. Disrespect champ, right? He thinks you're extremely dumb if he thinks you're buying this shit. And maybe you're a kid, then you shouldn't even be watching my video. Go do kid stuff. But like if you're an adult, how do you not realize that he is really, really expecting you to be extremely dumb? I edited the word out and then back in to make sure that they would catch it. You could have just made it in all caps, the word minor. It's such a dumb thing to say, but now he's like flipping it around. He feels so powerful. Like I can do what I want.
And
and then the smile with the dimples. Champs.
boy, oh boy, did they ever, champs.
It's just, it's very difficult for an outsider like me to even process this. It's like, God, there's a reason why a lot of people are turned off by his content. Like, are you not seeing that? Like, it's so weird to me that actual adults watch this and they're like, yeah, you tell him, doctor.
When you and all these so-called journalists, Cody, fired off your tweets, did any of you consider that the Twitch user may have been over the legal age of consent at the time of the messages?
So let's unpack this one. And yeah, you got some shit because of this as well, and for obvious reasons. Above the age of consent, which differs between states. So depending on the state, it could be higher or lower, but a minor is still below 18. So it was someone below 18, but above the age of consent, which in some states I think is 16. So it could be a person that was 16 or 17, but not 18. So it's like, legally speaking, he could have had sex with that person. Does that make it okay? Like, no. For most people, it doesn't. Well, within that state, stuff is allowed that a lot of people frown upon. But he's using that, right? Like, she was above the age of consent, but she was still a minor. It's like, is that your defense? You didn't, I mean, it's just so weird to use this as a defense in this way. Like, first, if I would do this, like, I would obviously not do something stupid as what he has done. But if I would have to like react now and like talk about it again, you should have started with what it actually was and then work yourself towards these minor points instead of building up to it, because you're not actually going to tell people exactly what was said, right? But that is the important part. What was actually said? What happened? Not denying all the accusations and, hey, that's not true, that's not true, that's not true. Hey, this is what happened. Now let me show you, like, let me talk about how they portrayed this, like how they looked at this. And they made this look like this, which is incorrect. because as I just told you, it was something else. He's not doing that. He's tackling all the attacks one by one because he doesn't want to talk about what actually happened.
You didn't. Neither did any of these journalists, and neither did Twit.
Nobody knew anything. Like, the journalist people did not know anything. The reason why it became a thing, and he's now, again, completely disregarding this fact, the reason why it became a thing is because someone else quote tweeted the tweet, and then he responded to that quote tweet saying, hey, this was settled many years ago, blah, blah, blah. You turned it into a thing. If you didn't respond at all, it's debatable whether it would turn into a thing or just a rumor and that's it and it would be ignored or not. So you turned it into a thing. The reason why other people have been reporting on it is because you turned it into a thing. Because you did respond.
At the time of the ban. You also tried to tell the world that I was trying to meet up with this user at TwitchCon, but you're wrong.
All right. That's something you just indicate in your tweet, right? They're out to get us, guys. Right? It was like a huge operation and they all coordinated this together. There was like a van in front of Cody's house with people with like headphones and radars.
These journalists.
The big time publications and the big news articles or whatever simply reported on what was going on, what was shared, right? Like this started as a tweet. He responded with this tweet. He took out the word minor and then put it back in and then took it out again and then put it back in. So, and now he deleted that entire tweet apparently. So yeah, claiming that all these big publications were just lying about stuff, like that's not what was going on. They were reporting on this stuff, and they have every right to report on something like this. You're a big streamer. There was a big controversy around you being banned. Nobody knew why. And you engaged with the tweet indirectly.
Gossip channels now. Without any real journalism and real research happening.
Why are we talking about me when there is so much important stuff going on? You're like the realest gamer. You're a big guy, right? You're popular, you're important. So yeah, people cover that shit.
They report on all this based on leaks from two former Twitch employees.
They report on this because you engage with it. Again, does he think you, a champion, are an idiot? I think so. I really think he severely underestimates a lot of his community, but also seeing the comments and how everyone feels like he's completely vindicated with no criticism at all.
One of whom was supposedly on the trust and safety team. If these anonymous sources worked on the trust and safety team at the time of my Twitch suspension in 2020,
we're going into details now.
then you would hope they would tell the truth. But apparently that's just too much to ask.
Too much to ask of Dr. Disrespect as well, because he's not sharing everything, right? He could. At this point, it's already out there, right?
If these former...
Some people have claimed like, hey, he was under NDA, so if someone is saying stuff that is completely not true, he's not even allowed to say that is completely not true. So if someone says like, hey, actually he rode on an elephant into the Twitch headquarters and then the elephant trampled on a couple of people and killed 1,500 people and that's why he got banned on Twitch, he's not allowed to say, hey, that's bullshit. What the fuck are you saying? He's not allowed. The NDA is preventing him from saying that. That's bullshit.
Trust and safety team members, and by the way, I know exactly who they are. Actually,
biting your lip after saying you know exactly who they are.
They had firsthand knowledge. Then what they conveniently left out is one.
Let's go.
Twitch's trust and safety team, the same employees that decided to ban me, internally admitted that the whisper messages were not sexting.
Okay, there's a legal definition. Okay, Twitch, but they didn't consider it. Okay.
And two, Twitch's trust and safety team, the same employees that decided to ban me, internally acknowledged that the whispers did not constitute child sexual abuse material CSAM.
I can see the words, the abbreviation, like the It's kind of bothering him to even have to mention it. He wants to distance himself from it as much as possible. It's icky. Here's the thing, doctor. When someone else says you were sexting, and you were in fact not sexting with that minor, you do not respond with I was sending inappropriate messages. You respond with I was not sexting with that person. It makes no sense for you to leave open certain stuff when these type of allegations are brought forward, right? So why didn't you just respond and say I was not sexting at all? I was not sexting with a minor. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Instead of saying did I have an inappropriate conversation with a minor? Inappropriate about what, doctor? About farts? If it was about farts, wouldn't you have included the fact that it was just a fart joke that you made? Like, nobody is worried about you making inappropriate fart jokes to a minor because it's a fart joke. It could be inappropriate, but still, like, it's not comparable to what people are thinking about. And you're not going in there and then saying, no, take that out. Remove that from your tweet. That is messed up. What you're saying is messed up. You could sue the person, right? If it's just based on nothing, just say, hey, my lawyers will be contacting you. And then that could have been just your response, right? Sue the guy. He's claiming something that's completely not true. But instead, you responded and you said, did I have an inappropriate... You had an inappropriate conversation. Like, do you guys see what I'm saying? If not, I don't know how to explain it to you.
Neither I nor the Twitch user exchanged any sexual graphic messages or images.
If that had nothing to do with sex, like nothing, like literally nothing, why would you mention that it was inappropriate and minor? Why would you combine those words without mentioning that it had nothing to do with sex? You have to kind of tell us what it was, right? If you're telling us it was not that, then it wasn't that bad. You're basically telling us, guys, it was nothing. Then just tell us what it was about. If it was nothing, if it can't even be considered inappropriate, which you admitted it was inappropriate, but why? It makes no sense for you to not rule that part out when you responded in that tweet. Makes no sense at all. And it sounds like you're hiding behind the legal definition or whatever and say, hey, this is legally speaking not sexting. And when you hide behind like legal definitions, it makes people think that you did something that was definitely inappropriate, but just not illegal, which still would be messed up. Like, some people would not be happy with that. I'm going to be very honest, and I think if the messages were actually leaked, that it's probably not good, right?
Sure that I was exchanging sexually explicit messages and photos with this Twitch user.
Nobody claimed that images, photos were
that never
shit.
happened.
Yeah, but nobody claimed that's something that specific. It was just sexting. And then you responded with, it was an inappropriate conversation. And it was a minor. But you didn't remove the word sex there. You didn't say it had nothing to do with sex, so.
I even used the word inappropriate, including these defaming articles. I'm sorry, but mutual bantering with...
You could have sued everyone that was like saying stuff that was just not true, right? They were reporting on what was being brought forward. Your reaction is just stupid.
The inappropriate jokes taken out of context should have never led to me.
Inappropriate jokes. So now we know it's joking. I was joking, which we'll have to actually see the conversation to determine if it was a joke or if it was like a joke.
How would each of you look?
This I found interesting.
If all of your private DMs, your text
I'm not DMing minors.
messages, your chats were looked at,
Not chat messaging minors.
dissected, and taken
No minors.
out of context by someone who's deliberately trying to find something inappropriate in those.
No minors.
those words?
No minors. Even while not being a YouTube celebrity, a streaming like the champion gaming master of the universe, like Dr. Disrespect here clearly is, it's possible for normal people to have conversations with minors. Like you can interact with people, but like you do it outside when I'm walking my puppy and they want to pet my puppy, I'm like, well, he has sharp teeth, so watch out. So sometimes I don't allow them, but I could have a conversation with them. But that's it. I'm not exchanging numbers, right? I'm not planning to meet up. I'm not sending whisper messages to them. They're kids. When you are in a position of power, which he clearly is as the leader of the champions community, people look up to him. Those kids look up to him. So having a direct channel with them, private channel, is messed up. It's messed up. And let's not pretend as if he does not know all of this, that it's kind of messed up to even have those conversations. Because he is seeing the numbers. There is a video, and I could edit that in, but I'm too lazy, where he talks about how he built his brand. And so when the streaming started, like the dashboard of seeing everything, and like he has a team working on stuff, like he can see I'm getting so many messages per second almost that it's practically impossible for me to process all of them. Like I might get one comment, probably no comments on this video. So yeah, for me to respond, like I can take my time. I can take days, if not weeks, and like nobody would really notice, right? He needs to engage with his audience to keep pulling them back in. So he knows that he's getting a lot of messages, and it's impossible for him to have a direct connection with everyone. And that most people will not be mentioned in his chat. He will not respond to most people in his chat. He might respond more to people that have been subscribed more or donate or whatever. But the majority of people that are just watching will not have any interaction with him. Yet, he decides to engage with people privately as well. They look up to you. They're vulnerable. So you're putting yourself in a very difficult position. You're just joking with them privately. Why would you joke privately with a minor, dude? Don't engage with minors privately when you're a celebrity. How does that does not compute? Realizing that just having this private communication kind of turns their entire world upside down. It's like the god of gaming, right? The gaming god of the universe is privately engaging with me. And you're doing a character. You're basically a children's TV host.
And this is not a situation where a victim publicly accuses someone of wrongdoing. That never happened here.
Important? So the victim never reported anything?
We're talking about allegations that Twitch made against me as a half-baked reason for justifying their actions of suspending and shutting down my channel.
Twitch signed a contract with the god of gaming, the god of game streaming, right? And then they were like, let's get rid of this very expensive contract that we put a lot of money in. Let's just not get any value out of that contract, right? Obviously, it's in their best interest to not ban this guy, because whatever it is that he's doing, it's working. He's reaching a lot of kids that have parents that can spend money on stuff for them. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense for Twitch to suddenly think, hey, we need to get rid of him.
Allegations that Twitch made without even a legal analysis of whether the whisper messages were illegal.
No legal analysis of whether the messages were illegal, okay?
You see, I engage with my community.
So I think here what he is saying is like they actually banned me without even checking if what I did was illegal or not. Like they didn't even take the time to actually analyze it.
I communicate with Twitch users.
Why minors, dude? Why?
Conversations that consisted of a variety of playing games and...
I'm gonna talk about Call of Duty with this 12-year-old girl. Hey, do you like Call of Duty? I don't buy that he is actually engaging with people about politics at all. I don't think this guy cares about politics. I think this guy, it went to his head. When this character thing exploded and it became a thing and it was successful, he felt very powerful. Very powerful. Powerful enough to think, hey, I can cheat and get away with it. Right? Powerful enough to think, hey, I've been sending inappropriate messages to a minor, but like Twitch is not telling anyone why. So let me just tell everyone that I don't know why. Because Twitch is not going to tell them that I do know why. Twitch is going to just take that one and leave it and say, fine, let him do that, because it will make us look worse that we didn't actually share the official reason.
Random stuff. This was the extent of my whispers with this Twitch user.
Politics. So you talked with this minor about politics. Let's summarize. You talked about this with this minor about politics, about Call of Duty, right? Like the weapon skins in Call of Duty or Counter-Strike. Or why did you not include that it was about gun skins and add-ons for Call of Duty or whatever, if it was about that? Why didn't you include, like, I was just sending messages about politics? Like, it was not, right? Clearly it was not. But now he's trying to make everyone think like that's the stuff that I was talking to that person about. Like, that's not it. If it was, you would have explicitly mentioned this. And now you would be very explicit. But now you're saying that's the type of stuff I was talking about, but nothing sexual, right? So how is it inappropriate? What makes it inappropriate, doctor?
On June 21st, 2020, my ex-Twitch partner manager learns that I exchanged whispers with a Twitch user. And I say ex.
Learned that I exchanged Twitch whispers with a user, okay? It's a built-in messaging platform that's allowed people to send messages. So your partner manager, your contact, basically your account manager, because, right, they paid a huge contract. So that person realized that you were using a built-in feature that you're allowed to use. Okay, interesting.
Partner manager, because for years, this guy didn't do anything.
Important to keep in mind. This guy grew, did all the right things. Twitch did not help him at all, right? He just worked the algorithm. Twitch did not sign him up. This partner manager or whatever did not do anything for me. Nothing. So, but you're basically saying Twitch just did not do anything for me. They should have helped you more, even more, when you're already popular and getting a lot of views. What do you want, dude? Do you want them to rebrand Twitch to like the Disrspect community, like the champions community? Like what the hell do you want? This person was there primarily to hear you complain, not to do stuff for you. Because what is it that they can do for you outside of just promoting your shit? Do you really think that there was literally zero promotion? That the algorithm does not suggest an already popular streamer to more people to watch?
For me, my community.
Why did they pay you for that? Why did they sign the contract with you? Just purely you streaming there, that is it. Look at the contract. What does it say about this manager having to do stuff for you? It's not in your contract, is it? They're just there to manage you. And basically, you tell them, you complain about stuff, and they go internally and check that stuff with the internal teams. They're not there to do you a lot of favors. Favors about what? What favor did you ask?
Or my channel. For years. I'm talking no front page love. You're talking about the
No front page love. They're not giving the doctor no front page love. He feels like he's some kind of superhero. He deserves to be on the front page. Like, imagine if it's like a newspaper and there's an article and you're on the second page. Like, why am I not getting any first front page love? What the hell's going on? I have to be the biggest person here on the planet, right? It just went to his head. This guy's ego is just so disgusting. And it weirds me out to realize that how many people are hearing this and they just, yeah, champ, didn't give you front page love.
Of the platform, right?
I was the main man, right, champs? We're the main man.
Literally, the face of the platform.
I'm the face of the platform, man. Shouldn't be called Twitch. Should be called Dr. Disrespect.
And I know Champions Club
Champions Club?
remembers this.
Like, he feels obligated to constantly say, me, us, me, us, actually us, me, us. It's so deliberate. And it jumps out maybe if you're not a fan, but if you're a fan, like, this is how he always talks. Hey, champs, right, champs?
We got zero front page.
We got zero front page love. When they're not putting me on the front page, they're not putting you on the front page. We're one. You're not one. They are just people that watch some guy doing a character and saying he's the god of gaming and the two-time champion of the world in gaming, and it's cringe and shitty content, in my opinion. If I was a parent, it's weird to say as a parent, but if I was a parent, I'm not a parent, I would not allow my kids to watch this shit. I would not. I think it's inappropriate. The way he talks, the way he looks up to himself, constantly pat his own back. He's just, if he's really good at doing a character, like do characters, he's not. This is the one thing he does, and he's too scared to change it. He can easily change it up, right? Look at Sacha Baron Cohen, like how many characters that guy is doing. Like, some of them are really funny, some of them are less funny, but he can do a lot of characters, and he's constantly trying to innovate and coming up with new characters that people will never forget. What is your character? I'm the god of gaming. I'm the best gamer in the world. Right? That is, and you're doing the dimple face, and you have a mustache and sunglasses that no adult should be wearing, and fake hair. It gives you, like, when you first tried it out, it's like, hey, chain. I can do a bit crazy because of this outfit, and it disconnects me. It feels like I'm more comfortable doing this stuff when I have all of this. It's not a great. I don't like the character. I think it's super corny, and that's literally all you did, and it worked because they're kids. And those kids are now, some of them are adults, and they're still interested, fascinated by you because they like gaming. Fine. People can do what they want. But it's just so cringe.
On the website. It was never on my channel. He didn't follow me on Twitter.
He didn't follow me on Twitter, guys. My account manager at Twitch did not follow me. Imagine saying this shit in any other situation. Who cares if that person followed you on Twitter or not? You have a direct way of contacting them. You dumbass. What a dumb thing to say. That's the worst thing that they did? They didn't follow you on Twitter? Really? You probably have their phone number. You have their email. It's work for them. It's work. They're not officially obliged to follow your Twitter. They don't have to care about that stuff. Right? It's like going to like a cruise and you're like VIP and they have someone there that is like there to manage not just you. Most of the time it's multiple people, right? They're not like working 40 hours per week just to facilitate your needs. Like, that's not it. They're managing multiple people, just like how account managers manage multiple customers. Yeah. They're not going to follow their customers on Twitter. I understand that this is like something different than just normal services that companies provide and blah, blah, blah. But regardless, I think it's just so childish to mention this person did not follow me on Twitter. And that tells you something about what he thinks he deserves. If you're managing my account on Twitch, I'm expecting you to follow my Twitter. And then when you follow him on Twitter, how are you not in my Discord? How are you not in my Discord? How can I not send you a private message on Discord and tell you to do something for me? And I have to send you a text message or an email? That's unacceptable. Why aren't you on Reddit? Why aren't you in my subreddit? That makes no sense. Why aren't you actually watching my streams? I don't care.
We got zero support from this guy. And it was just so obvious.
I would really consider, I would seriously consider changing the work that I do, like work in a different field. If I was like an account manager for like Twitch and I had to deal with this shitty person because that's how he comes over to me. From what I can see, and admittedly, I'm not watching his gaming streams, but like he does not seem like a nice person at all. So I can imagine that person really not liking him. I can imagine, because probably that person has heard a couple of things from him directly about him being disappointed about stuff. It's probably safe to assume or conclude that he did tell that person, why aren't you following me on Twitter? I need to be able to send you a direct message. You need to follow my social media activity if you're managing me as an account.
Obvious that he carried a grudge against the two-time.
The two-time? Just so stupid.
So after we...
A grudge for what? Why did he carry a grudge? Why was he not liking you? Maybe because you're not a likable person in real life. Based on how you're handling this shit, I would say you're not a likable person at all. You know how to present yourself as a likable person to your champions community by making them feel special.
Signed with Twitch in 2019, we asked for a new partner manager. And
this is interesting.
Just a few months later, that ex-Twitch partner manager is direct.
Community manager was able to convince Twitch to fire you. That's the claim.
Coincidence?
So look at this from the Twitch money people perspective, right? The community manager that was managing him, it's not a very, very high paying role within the company, right? It's like not driving a Bentley, right? Now let's focus on the people that are driving Bentleys and stuff. The people that are making a lot of money. Like executives, like top of the chain. They were fooled by a community manager into losing one of the biggest streamers in the world and losing out on their investment in that contract. That person played 4D chess, got them to get rid of Dr. Doolittle Respect.
Twitch partner manager that they do not want to report anything to Twitch. I'll repeat that sentence one more time just in case anybody missed that one. The Twitch user tells this ex-Twitch partner manager that they do not want to report anything to Twitch.
Okay. Does not mean that what happened should not have been reported. The fact that the miner that looks up to the god of gaming, to the two-time world multiple champion, amazing god of gaming in the world of the universe, that person did not want to report the person they look up to, the person calling them champ privately. Hey champ, what you doing, champ? Why are you sending private messages to a miner, dude? What are you hoping to get out of that? It's like, you need to do that to make them feel more connected so you grow your community. You're not connecting with a minor privately to grow your community, right? To convince them to talk about you at school to other kids. That's what happens when they just watch your stream, right? You're not privately connecting with a minor because you feel like, hey, I don't want anyone to feel left out, because you're not connecting to everyone, right? You could have just sent messages to adults. But that was not that interesting, I guess, right? I don't know what percentage of your conversations were with adults and what percentage was with kids. I don't know if they looked at other conversations. So we're now zooming in on something that we're not going to see because no one is sharing or leaking the DMs, right? Was this the only conversation? Why aren't you saying, hey, this was the only conversation? Why aren't you saying, I did not know it was a minor until I found out later, and then I should have immediately left the convo, but I lingered for a bit. Why aren't you saying that shit? No, she was above the age of consent, guys. Like, how is that your defense?
But this ex-Twitch partner manager encourages the user and even directs them to file a report directly with Twitch, even though the user told him clearly that we never physically met anywhere and that no photographs were exchanged.
So now he's using lawyer speak again, right? Like, we didn't send any nude pictures of other people or ourselves. Okay. So why there was nothing to report, right? It sounds like there was something to report, dude. And that's why the person, whether this is true that it was the old account manager doing this or not, regardless, something inappropriate can happen when it concerns a minor. I can imagine an employee of the company, if they have an option to escalate something into a report, there is something that can be escalated into a report. It's not nothing. And the way he talks about this stuff is like, it was nothing. If it was nothing, you would have said, hey guys, it was nothing. That is not what you said. We only know it was inappropriate, and you use the word inappropriate very deliberately after being accused of sexting. You could have simply said it wasn't sexting. And now you're saying, based on the legal definition of sexting, it was not sexting.
On June 24th, 2020, Twitch's Special Operations Team receives and reviews the user's report.
At that point, all of this stuff before, like, that part does not matter. There is an official report. Even if an employee has convinced that person to report, even if it was an external person, even if it was God that came down to earth into the bedroom of that minor, which would be inappropriate, by the way. But tell her, like, hey, you need to file a report. It doesn't matter. There's a report. There's a process. The procedure needs to be followed, and they need to investigate. And it's not like they're going to look at a couple of messages and not the other stuff.
They
but
find no issues.
Let's see if he claims them.
And determine that it did not warrant any further escalation to Twitch's law enforcement response team.
Okay, so based on that, it sounds like there was nothing there. There was nothing to escalate. So nothing inappropriate was actually being said, right? Champs. See what they're doing to us, champs?
That would have been the end. That should have been the end.
Imagine having to do this act continuously during a stream. What does he do? What does he do to us, champs?
He personally escalates the report to a friend on the Twitch's LER team. The LER team...
What? Employee reaches out to another employee to discuss internal stuff? No. How dare you?
Remember, that's the Twitch's law enforcement...
Is this actually true? I don't know. It's difficult for us to verify. I don't think he would make this claim if it wasn't based on nothing. If it was based on nothing. Because you can't really lie about this stuff. It's like, if people know the name of that person, then, you know, you're kind of making claims that are not true, and that person could sue you. With, like, suing people is not that easy. And also, don't forget, that other person is probably a normal person with, like, a normal salary and stuff. He's not the god of gaming, like this dude. I don't care. The fact that they internally reach out, I don't care. If there is nothing, there is nothing. If you work in like a special team at Twitch and some colleague comes to you and says, hey, can you look into that? And you look into that and it's nothing. You're not capable of analyzing something and determining if it's a something or nothing. You should not be part of that team. So it doesn't matter who is reporting it to you. You'll get to the bottom of it.
Response team.
But he's creating this narrative of like, that person was out to get me. That person was out to get us. Champs. We didn't do anything wrong. It's all of this is just so, it doesn't matter. What were you texting or messaging that person?
He escalates the report to a friend on Twitch's LER team.
A friend now, right? Like he did him a favor by doing his job. The person that is evaluating the request still is doing their job. It's their job. If they're in a special team, regardless of how the request is reaching them, whether it's a colleague that they consider a friend or not, does not matter, right? And officially, it should also not matter if it's the god of gaming, in this case, or just a random small streamer. It should not matter. It makes it more of an issue when it's like the god of gaming, of course, because that person has a huge champions community, right? Where they can reach out to a lot of minors privately.
So a day later, on June 25th, the LER analyst pulls the entirety of the Whisper messages and begins discussing them with his director of the LER team.
Doing their work.
Mind you, this director is on vacation at that time and does not have access to their computer or work files. Let me just
You're claiming that Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, right? The biggest cloud hosting company in the world, as far as I know, that the Twitch employees, stay with me, that the Twitch employees cannot reach their work stuff when on vacation if they need to. You're telling me they do not have a company phone. You're telling me that the systems that they use to send messages to each other, to get like to see stuff, the dashboards and all of those things, they're not, like you can't visit those portals with your phone, right? They're not capable of like opening desktop mode on their phone in the browser. They don't have apps. It's not in the cloud. But I don't know. Some people don't take their laptop with them on vacation. If you're a director and you need to make a decision about something that is related to the god of streaming and gaming combined, and it's like a very expensive contract, I think a person like that has a laptop with them. Nobody else was like, hey, I do have access to these messages. Like I'm looking at them right now. It's not that bad. This is a big contract. There's no one counterbalancing that shit. I do not buy it.
Mind you, I went through a big time arbitration.
He wanted to say billion.
Okay. And, you discover a lot of stuff.
Okay, so it's discovery. So based on discovery, he knows that person did not have access to their company stuff when they're not at the office, like people are not working outside of the office anymore.
Mind you, this director is on vacation at that time. The LER analyst cherry picks and sends a few targeted excerpts out of context from the Whisper messages to this director.
We would have to see it to judge it. So it's this like pointless. We don't know how out of context it is. There are things you can share stuff and then make it look really bad by removing other stuff. But it depends on the stuff that is left in. Like, if I see it, I can probably draw a conclusion on whether it's just inappropriate or not. It looks like they were inappropriate. And we're now looking at a guy that literally said that he had an inappropriate conversation. And he didn't mention like it had nothing to do with sex, right? Because why would he mention that it had nothing to do with sex while being... well, someone is claiming that you were sexting a minor. That makes no sense.
Now, if you do this, you can make anyone's messages look inappropriate.
No, like, he's now trying to convince the champions community like they could do this to you. If they're doing this to me, imagine what they'll do to you.
Even when they aren't.
You can't make all conversations look inappropriate. No, you can't. Bullshit. You can't make everything look inappropriate by just grabbing a word. Like with some conversations, all you can like grab is like duh. Like here, duh. Like that is not inappropriate. Like you can write sentences without using inappropriate words, my dude.
Within less...
There was an inappropriate element within the screen grabs. Otherwise, you cannot make it look very inappropriate.
than...
What he's claiming is like, even if it's not about A, you can make it look like it's about A. Yes, theoretically, you could. That's not what happened here, right? Like, I was actually talking about, like, I don't know, how I miss Toys R Us, but they misconstrued it and thought I was trying to meet up with this person at TwitchCon and saying they have a nice butt. Like, we don't know. It's difficult for us to judge, right? But there was something inappropriate. Otherwise, it would not have ended up like this. And now he's kind of assuming that people just buy into this idea of like, there was literally nothing.
1 hour? This LER analyst and his director have made the decision to suspend me from Twitch. Twitch submits a report to NCMEC. You guys all read those little articles, huh? The NCMEC. Twitch submits that report. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Guess what? As far as I know, and over 4 years have passed, they didn't do anything with the report. As far as I know, they didn't escalate Twitch's report to law enforcement.
It's not official, like it's not illegal, but it's inappropriate, which could already violate terms of service. Big company paid a lot of money, and they're like, oh, forget about all the money we paid. Let's just forget about it. Bye-bye investment. Fuck it. Let's just move on. Yeah, they'll take that very lightly. There was something inappropriate.
You,
doesn't mean that it was illegal or that you would end up in jail.
the same people that made...
If, like he said, the person was above age of consent. So even if they had sex, it would be not illegal if they both consented, right? But what would everyone think if like a guy was like late 30s, I think? I don't know what, like, regardless, there is an option where something is like not illegal but still very much frowned upon. But it's so easy to just not... I'm not going to claim that what he's dealing with this now is like very easy. It's not, but the way he's dealing with it is just really stupid.
This decision admit internally that the messages did not constitute sexting.
Did they violate the terms? Were they inappropriate? Why were they inappropriate? Were you joking about sex? Were you really joking about sex? Or were you kind of curious how they would respond to jokes about sex? Like, difficult to judge as an outsider when we're not actually seeing the evidence.
The same people that made this...
If it's really nothing, then in this stream you could have said, you know what, guys? I still have that NDA, but I'm okay with the DMs being leaked. Like, we can show the transcript. We can still protect the identity of that person, but we can share the transcript of what was said. I'm down to sharing that. And Twitch, I'm asking you to also be okay with that so we can just get this over with. And Twitch would be saying like, no, because then we will be exposed as like, because it was actually based on literally nothing.
Decision at Twitch admit internally that the messages did not warrant any child sexual abuse material charge.
Skills. Nothing. Totally fine. Hey, do you also like Call of Duty? Like, kind of sketchy. Why are you sending that message to a minor, right? That's kind of sketchy. Really bad, something really, really bad. And there's a scale, and it falls somewhere in between. It's already inappropriate to have private conversation with a minor when you're a character in a TV show. Already inappropriate. But you were talking about inappropriate stuff. Whether it was a joke or not, I don't know. Regardless, inappropriate to have a conversation privately with a minor as a host of a TV kid show. And inappropriate conversation. That's two inappropriate elements in
Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me while
they do not do this, take this lightly.
admitted they did not perform any legal analysis.
There was the director that was not doing any analysis, right? Because he didn't have access. But now he's claiming like nobody really dived into it. Imagine that. Like they're getting rid of the biggest god in streaming that has ever existed in the universe. And they didn't even take the time to actually investigate why they're actually banning me.
Of whether the messages exchanged were illegal in any way. Twitch makes this...
Doesn't have to be illegal. If it really makes them uncomfortable, could be a reason to just say, you know what, this is really making us uncomfortable. We don't know. We don't want to constantly monitor your shit and then find out that you were. But like even then, after this happened, you probably wouldn't use their whisper thing to send messages, right? You would have just used a different platform. So from their perspective, it's like the guy is doing this. He's having these type of conversations already with someone. We don't trust that he will stop doing this because maybe he has done it multiple times. Maybe we see more inappropriate conversations. I don't know. Was this really the only inappropriate conversation that he had with a minor? Like, we don't know. We don't know the details.
Decision to terminate my contract.
But the idea to terminate $1 million contract based on nothing and just because the old account manager was like, oh, he was mean to me because I didn't follow his Twitter. Can we get rid of him? And like that person basically didn't say that, but like played 4D chess and got the company that is just paying them a normal wage to get rid of like their biggest streamer. Like, it's just so stupid.
And ban me while admitting that they never investigated the age of consent in the jurisdiction where the user's messages were sent and received.
Guys, she was below 18. I'm an old guy. She was below 18. And I still had sent these messages. But she was above the age of consent, guys. Like, it doesn't make you look better, right? It still makes you look bad. Like, is that your limit? Like, you're willing to have inappropriate conversations with people that are at least above the age of consent? Like, isn't it 16 in some states? I don't know. But then it's like, well, if it was 15, would you be okay with 15 as well? Like, are you really just following the law, the book? That's it. Companies are allowed to get rid of you, even if you didn't do something that is illegal, but that is just making them really uncomfortable, and they do not want to be associated with you anymore, or they just consider it a risk. But you got paid out, right? So you got the money.
Twitch makes this decision to terminate my contract and ban me without ever interviewing me, the user, or any other third party, including the partner manager. It's fucking unbelievable!
So Twitch didn't talk to even the people that actually, like, they didn't talk to the kids. They didn't talk to the partner manager to get some more details. It basically landed on their desk and they're like, hey, get rid of this multi-dollar contract because, you know, here are 2 screenshots of a message you sent that looks very inappropriate, but like it's actually out of context. How out of context is it? It's difficult for us to judge, right, doctor? When we do not know what the messages were actually. Like, what was it? What was shown? We don't know. So it's difficult for us to judge.
Oh.
But now the claim is made that they literally did not do anything and just got rid of $1 million contract and then ended up in a very costly arbitration and lawyers and all of that stuff. Based on nothing. There was nothing. Dude, If there was nothing, you would not have sent out a tweet where you said you had an inappropriate conversation with a minor and blah, blah, blah. Why were you sending private messages to a minor? What were you thinking to get out of it? What was the reasoning behind it? We're not talking about that stuff, right? Champions. God, I find him annoying. And I understand that people look up to him, but don't be like him. Seriously. He's like a child. He's like a man-child to me. He's like a man-child. Come. All right, let's get this over with. Chaps.
I'm not going to get into every detail regarding my legal case. But these former Twitch employees that claim to have firsthand knowledge, they just don't have a clue.
Nobody had a clue, guys.
They didn't report any facts.
There was nothing.
The judge in the case determined that the whispers were not illegal. So then why did Twitch use these messages against me?
What was it? Inappropriate joke, but not about sex. It was about farting. Maybe it was a joke about the age of consent, but not actual sexting. Right? Like, hey, should the age, like, is the age of consent too low? Too high? Like, don't you agree? Let's, on the one side, I think we should, like, come up with what it could be, but now, just thinking more about it, imagine if it was a conversation about, hey, you look kind of cute. It's not officially sexting yet, right? Someone can look cute. You could say, like, hey, that's harmless. Even a cat is cute. Even a cat is cute, right? Even a cat is cute. All right. So, I'm kind of lost. Oh yeah, I was like thinking about what the messages could have been. Okay, so you look kind of cute. We maybe should not have this conversation, you know, because, you know, the age thing, still not sexting. Yep. But yeah, I mean, officially, like, what is the age of consent? What state are you in? Oh, so officially you are above the age of consent. So, like, officially we're fine, right? Right? Still not sexting. Inappropriate. Not literally talking about having sex. Like, we could come up with stuff that is very inappropriate, that falls within these boundaries that he has set for what it actually is.
Why did Twitch treat the doc so...
You need to be more specific if you really want to make a good case about your innocence here, in my opinion. And he's getting away with it
differently
too easily.
There are other streamers.
Other streamers have been doing stuff, and why are you dealing with me like this? And
I mean,
we'll have to see what you said to that minor.
I mean, just take a look at me.
Take a look at me. Look at the dimples.
Hey. Unfiltered.
God, he's so annoying.
The realest mother...
God, he's so annoying. Oh my God, he's so annoying.
Fucker in this industry.
The realest motherfucker in this industry that did not realize that it was inappropriate to send a message to a minor when he's the host of a children's TV show.
6'8". Gorgeous, athletic, successful, college degree, college...
You got a college degree? Like, you got a degree? What degree?
Bourbon.
Who cares? There are lots of people that are dumbasses that get degrees.
Business, gaming, studio, beautiful...
Ew. All because I started a character with sunglasses and I'm like, "Ugh, I'm the doctor. You can't mess with the doctor. Let me show you how I'm gonna kill this guy. I'm walking around and then I'm shooting like, yeah. You literally did something that a grown adult would normally not do because it's kind of like really cringe and lame, but like it caught on because kids like that stuff. Twitch is complicit that this is influencing people in the way it is. YouTube is complicit in all of the shit that they have monetized that they shouldn't have monetized. This works. It works and it blends the children stuff with like the Discord. Have you seen? Discord got rid of him, I think. There are all these different platforms, and he's constantly getting messages. Now, put yourself in the god of gaming his shoes, right? You're getting so many messages. Like you grab your phone and it's like, and after like a couple of weeks, you're like, I can't. This is too much. This is too much. During streams, everything, you're like, I'm completely overwhelmed. We need a system to deal with this shit. And then you're like, while having a system to deal with this shit, because he has a system to deal with this shit, he knew how to maximize the profits by keeping them engaged. He was not messaging this minor because it was effective for him to grow his community. Logically, that makes no sense. It's inefficient. Right? What was it? What were you hoping to gain? As long as we don't see the conversation, there's so many things that could have happened in that convo that were really inappropriate.
Just so perfect. I'm not perfect.
I'm not perfect, guys. Nobody's saying you're claiming to be perfect. No one is expecting you to be perfect. Right? Why was the conversation with the minor considered inappropriate? What was it about? What was it about? Why did you feel the need to have a private conversation with a minor when you could have had a private conversation with hundreds of thousands of adults that have more life experience? What makes the convo with the minor interesting to you? What piqued your interest? What was it? Why did you decide to send that minor a message or respond to the message from the minor? Because one could assume that you're getting a lot of messages from minors. One could assume that minors have more often sent you inappropriate messages, offering inappropriate stuff, right? One should assume maybe that you're not doing that you're not participating, right? So one could assume that you know how to deal with someone that is being inappropriate. Was this minor being inappropriate to you, and did you just respond in a funny way? Were you the one that made it kind of inappropriate? We do not know, huh? And you're not really telling us, right? Because you could say, well, she made an inappropriate remark, and I kind of laughingly built on that joke. These type of details really help us as outsiders to get an idea of what it was about. But you're not sharing those details, are you?
Sometimes I do.
No, you don't. No,
But I also didn't do all the shit that they're saying I did.
But you're also not literally telling us what you did.
But then that doesn't make a story, right?
It's not a story, right, guys? $1 million contract was canceled. I was kicked out, was banned. It's not a story, right, guys? I was claiming that I did not know what it was about. It's not a story, right, guys? Then I admit that I was sending inappropriate messages to a minor in a private message. It's not really a story, right, guys? When I have millions of kids as followers, right?
They wanted media
It's not story, right?
attention. The media wants controversy.
It's the woke.
And by
It's the woke.
sensationalizing all this with big and
Your dumbass tweet was the reason why this was sensationalized. It was a dumbass tweet.
accurate headlines
I edited the word minor out to make it blink, like bling, bloom, bling, bling.
like sexting and sexually explicit.
If someone is claiming something is sexting or sexually explicit and you're responding to that with a tweet, I've mentioned this before, why would you not say it has nothing to do with sex or erotica or whatever? I would say that. If you didn't know that it was a minor when you had the conversation with that person and you found out later, sounds like something you would include, right? So as a fan of Dr. Doolittle, Diddly Do, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. It's important. That's a very important detail.
You all got what you
There's
wanted
a butterfly now in my office.
at the expense of the tube time.
Dumbass butterfly, why?
The
Why
reality
would you
is-
come inside?
They wanted to cut down the dock. Plain and simple.
Go left.
Take a look at some of these
They just wanted to bring you down. Guys. The two-time, the champion. I'm the champion, guys. How can they do this to the champ? Let me open my window.
banned. I've got some examples right here. Example number 1. A streamer that frequently used the N-word while publicly streaming, which
Not as bad. Ooh, yeah, it's bad. Using N-word is bad. Yeah. Using N-word is bad. Yeah. Inappropriate conversations with minors, not the same thing. While I know racism is messed up, I know inappropriate conversations with kids is more messed up.
constitutes a violation of Twitch's policies if accompanied by hateful intent. Twitch scheduled a meeting with the streamer to ascertain his intent to determine whether his contact was a violation of Twitch's
This
policies.
is his defense. I'm gonna skip this bullshit.
Why wasn't I called into a meeting? Why
Apparently, they found it inappropriate enough to not even need a
wasn't
meeting.
my intent taken into consideration,
Difficult to judge if we can't actually see the messages.
champs?
Hey, champs. They're out to get me, champs. They paid millions for my contract and then they wanted to get rid of me because I was exposing the Twitch lies.
Example number 2.
The old account manager was upset and was able to convince the executive management to get rid of $1 million contract and end up in litigation and stuff and shit like that. So they're basically sending their executive managements in and become community managers, right?
Streamer was reported for discussing doing things with deceased animals and discussing pedophilia.
Discussing pedophilia, doing sick things to animals, okay?
All while live streaming.
Out in the open. This is not private messages, so it was out in the open. You were having an inappropriate conversation with a minor in private messages. Still worse.
Never suspended, but instead given a multi-million-dollar contract. Example number
You got paid for your contract at the end.
3. Streamer was reported for a sexually explicit stream involving children
The stream was public, right? Everyone could see it.
and telling children to send Snapchats of them playing
That
with
is bad.
themselves.
That's bad. I'm not familiar with this case.
Never suspended, but instead
Well, Twitch sucks. Great.
given a multi-million-dollar contract.
Why did they give you a multi-million-dollar contract? It sounds like they're giving shitty people million-dollar contracts, and you knew, and you made it work. Still, having an inappropriate conversation in private with a minor is really bad. It's really bad. That person, when you said was talking about stream, like, hey, send me inappropriate stuff, that's bad. That's really bad. Yeah. It's not the actual private conversation about inappropriate stuff that you're mentioning now, right? Because did that happen? I do not know.
It's so obvious
Still
that
bad.
certain Twitch executives, employees involved had personal biases against the doc.
They just hated the doc. There is a lot to dislike about the doc. The character is lame. It's fucking played out after so many years. You're just milking a shitty concept that worked with kids. And it amazes me how many adults are still watching your shit. Just because you entertained them at the time where they could have been entertained by someone else. They could have learned something valuable from someone else. But they watched your shitty streams and it gave them a sense of hope. Made them happy to be part of the champions community, right? The doc mentioned my username in a stream. He's a god, so God mentioned me. Like, it's just stupid.
And used all of this as an opportunity to terminate my contract.
$1 million
Go back
contract.
and look at the timing of all this too. Huh.
Okay, then just say, I did not do anything that violates the terms of service. I did not have any conversation about sex. Right? Say the stuff that you need to say to take away all the concern, and everyone is like, okay, so they literally did this based on nothing. I'm going to let it play out a bit more.
It has affected us.
I'm done with this.
On so many levels. Back in 2020 and now in 2024.
They're after the champ, guys.
Cody Connors, I just
already
have to say it again.
Said some stuff about
Why
him.
would you do this?
Why would you tell the world that I was let go because I was having an inappropriate conversation with minors while I'm the host of one of the most popular TV kid shows? Why would you want to warn everyone that maybe their kids are having inappropriate conversations with me privately that are at least inappropriate enough for me to lose $1 million contract? But wait, it was nothing, right? But I'm not willing to say that it was actually nothing. But I'll make you think it was nothing by using legal definitions and shit.
Like I said, this was handled professionally years ago. No fucking wrongdoing.
There was nothing. This is, again, trying to convince you that there was literally nothing. But he's saying nothing illegal happened. There's a lot that can happen that is very inappropriate and frowned upon, especially if you're a host of a TV kid show.
But because of
I'm
you,
just
Cody?
So tired. You ruined everything, Cody. You said something about something that happened. Like, I don't care.
We just lost. Fuck, man.
This one I found really fascinating. Yeah, I'll do that thing I want to do later. So he actually said during the other stream, like, I'm leaving Midnight Society. And now hear him say, I think Midnight Society said they're like not working with him or something. But now hear him say, champs, I have some bad news, champs.
Unfortunately, we have to lay off people from Midnight Society.
So he's not gone, so he's back, it's fine, and they're now firing people, and it's all Cody's fault. Not the fact that he had an inappropriate conversation with a minor. That was not the reason why he ended up in this mess. That has nothing to do with it. It's just Cody. Cody could have been just some random other person that just randomly said something, and it would have this impact. Also important to keep in mind, the guy has enough money. He has enough money to not have to lose employees, right? But like, no, they're going to deal with the consequences, guys. Cody needs to realize that because of him, some people cannot be fed anymore. Their kids are going hungry. Really pissing me off.
Because of you, Cody.
Because of you, Cody. It's all your fault. It's all your fault. Not the fact that you had conversations with a minor that were inappropriate in private messages.
What I don't accept is sitting quietly by and let these idiots attack me with false accusations. No.
There is literally no owning up to, right? This is important for the people that are champions in his champions community. He's not owning up to anything. If there was nothing to own up to, why did he send that tweet out and say that he was having an inappropriate conversation with a minor? Why is he not willing to explain to us what made the conversation inappropriate? Do you really think Twitch is suddenly going to say you violated the NDA by giving people a kind of sneak preview of like what the topic was about?
For all these doc haters out there too, oh man.
Doc haters. We have better stuff to do. Like, I don't think there are like people spending a lot of time on this shit, but it's just fascinating to cover this. But this is probably going to be my last video because you're not interesting to me at all. So you can call me a doc hater, but I really couldn't care less.
Ones that
I don't think you should be sending private messages to minors.
project and
Whether they're inappropriate or not, you should not be sending private messages to minors. You're smart enough to realize that you cannot scale that up. You cannot scale that up. You cannot grow your community effectively by having conversations with minors privately. That does not scale, dude, unless you've turned your voice into an AI voice and you're like, or an AI is chatting in your name. That's not what you did.
project and worry about everyone else's problems, right? I can't understand that mindset.
Biggest streamer on Twitch got banned. Nobody knew why. He said, I didn't know why. He lied about not knowing why. He admitted having inappropriate conversation with a minor through private message. I don't understand why the people want to talk about this stuff. Don't they have their own life?
Yes. We've always stayed in our lane. But somehow...
It's us again. Now, we have always stayed in our lane. No one is having issues with the champions in the champions community, are they? It's not us or we. It's you. We stayed in our lane. What? Yes, they have stayed in their lane, apparently. And they will continuously stay in their lane because they're normal people. Right? It's literally just you. It has nothing to do with the other people in your community. But you want to make them feel part of it, as if they are being attacked. That is how it feels to them. Seriously.
Do what you need to do. I'll say this isn't for you. This was for my team. Today, my community, my friends,
my
la familia that have supported me.
La familia. You're my familia.
Me.
You're not his family, you dumbasses.
I'm not denying.
You're basically his customers, right? He's making money out of you. You're doing something that makes him rich. Fine, you can do it. You can join communities like this, but just don't be surprised if someone that is doing such a show act where they're like, I'm the champion, I'm the god, I'm the best gamer in the world. Like, they're constantly saying that shit, that it goes up to their head at a certain point. Doing this character was interesting, and it's something you could do like for a little while, but doing this for so many years shows lack of originality. It's constantly the same thing. You talk in a certain way, and even when it's like about your private stuff like this, you stay in character and you use the character, and the character has some flaws. People that do characters, that are good at doing characters, get tired of the same shitty character. Even Mr. Bean got tired of his shitty character. They move on. Because you can't. You're not good at doing characters. You're just good at pretending to be an arrogant idiot, and you are. You are arrogant. I cannot imagine you not being arrogant in real life. This is you.
Exchange of whispers, champs. I'm not denying that to all of you out there. It looks bad. I have no way of knowing if the Twitch user thought our exchange of whispers was inappropriate.
So now he's claiming, I don't even know if that person considered it inappropriate. He admitted it, that it was inappropriate in his tweet. He's like, maybe that person didn't realize it was inappropriate, but it was inappropriate because he admitted it. What is this? How is this a defense?
If it was, I apologize.
I apologize, but now you're saying, I don't know if it was inappropriate, but I was willing to send out a tweet where I said I had an inappropriate conversation with a minor. You would not say such a thing if that was not the case. What type of idiot do you think you're talking to?
All I know is that I never did what Twitch, Cody Connors, or the public...
It just didn't do anything.
...is claiming.
I was not even sending... It was not even a private conversation, guys.
That I did.
Because I could have added more people to the convo. God, he's annoying.
That's it. I'm not saying anything more about...
I will end this,
right?
But I need to talk
Unless
to
I
your
need to,
champions
because trust
first.
me, I have more I haven't disclosed.
What actually happened, yes.
I just want to get...
Why was it inappropriate? And now you're kind of distancing yourself from the fact that you already admitted it was inappropriate. Deleted that tweet, and you're saying, if it was considered inappropriate, then I apologize. You're contradicting yourself, dude. You're editing words out and then back in.
Back to what we do best. Put on a show.
Play video games as a shitty character. All right, so now I'm going to end this by just talking to you champions. To Dr. Disrespect, I think I'm not surprised that he's trying it in this way. It really is exactly what you would expect from someone that is doing this type of character, that turned this into a living, to make a living by doing this clown act that clearly only would work for kids. And for some weird reason, the people that started looking at you as a kid kept on watching you. because it's entertaining enough, which is beyond belief, but yes, it is. So no, I don't think what he's saying here has helped at all. As you can see, there's a lot to criticize. I don't care anymore. I don't like Twitch. I think Twitch should have probably just shared the details by now while protecting the identity of that minor. And he's not owning up to anything. He's dumb. He owns up to a little bit, and then he's like, oh, I kind of regret owning up to shit, so I'm going to now convince people that there was actually nothing to own up to, even though I did it. Forget about that stuff. Now talking to you champs. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I understand if kids are looking at this content and like, oh, he has so much confidence. Oh, he's so good at gaming. I got him, doctor. Hey, oh, doctor, you got him. Nice kill. Like you as a 8-year-old, you could create a montage where you just kill people in the game, right? I'm so good. Look at me. Look at how good I look. And that's pretty much it. There is no depth at all. If you tell me like, hey, I like that cartoon, I like that video game, hey, I like that movie or whatever, if this is the level of depth that the character has, personality-wise, character traits, and how they're like the mannerism, if this is it, it's a shitty game, movie, story, or whatever, right? It's not that good. It is not that good. But for some reason, it interests you, especially when you were a kid, right? Ask yourself if you think it's okay to support someone that is clearly an adult that thought it was okay to have an inappropriate conversation privately with a minor when they are confronted with messages from hundreds of thousands of minors and hundreds of thousands of adults. So you're getting overwhelmed by all these messages and everyone that wants to talk to you, and they all look up to you because at a certain point they kind of feel like you're the god of gaming. You're like the god of the universe, right? They feel like you're a superhero. And then you go and send private messages or respond to private messages from a minor that could be considered inappropriate according to your own words. This person did that. So if you have kids, try to think about what did he think to gain. Like I said, he was dealing with this fandom, like this community and the champions and people sending him messages. He was dealing with that on a ridiculous scale. Ridiculous scale. And then for some reason, he thought, let me talk, let me chat with this one in private. Why? What made you interested in having that conversation? Right? It's not the same thing as going to a grocery store, someone recognizing you because even though you don't have the shitty wig and eyeglasses, but you do have the shitty mustache, and they talk to you and say, I'm your biggest fan, and you saying, oh, thanks, and when did you start watching, and what do you like about my content, trying to learn more about what they like about your content. This is not that. Having conversations with minors privately should not have been a thing. It was a thing. That is already bad. Then there is the inappropriateness that you have admitted to as well. You're not owning up anything here. The only thing you're saying is, if that person says it's inappropriate, then I apologize. While having already apologized and admitting that it was inappropriate. And now it's like, if that person thinks it's inappropriate, that is when I will apologize. Or that is when my apology is applied. Otherwise, it's like no apology. That's not how it works when it concerns minors, right? So what can I say to just cap this off? You can watch his content. You can support him. You can send him your money. He's really in desperate need of money, guys. That's up to you. But just what bothers me about all of this, and reading the comments, I'm not going to read them now because it's just going to bother me again, is the fact that people saw this as like, this is it. He has been cleared of every wrongdoing. Like, there's nothing. There was nothing. There was literally nothing. If you think there was nothing, then you are an idiot, because he admitted that it was more than nothing. If it was nothing, he would have just confirmed that it was nothing. If he was having a conversation with that person about Call of Duty only, he would say, we were just chatting about Call of Duty, which is really difficult to screen grab and then pretend as if it's something else, right? I've given you an example of what an inappropriate conversation could be that could maybe not be considered illegal. You're not sending pictures, you're not asking for pictures. But you're maybe just saying like, hey, maybe we should just not have this conversation. Like when you go to the videos with the Catch a Predator, Take a Seat Right Here, Dr. Disrespect, when you look at those things and you see the history of what they're saying and everything, they're always saying like, we should not have this convo. Like we probably shouldn't have this convo, considering your age. That already, like the alarm bells go ringing, right? I don't know if that was being said or not. We can only guess because you're not providing any insight into this. Right? I can come up with shit that would fall within those boundaries that he has set that is really still unacceptable. So if you're going to accept all of this and say, you know what, that's it, I believe him, it was really nothing, that's up to you. Don't be surprised if it was more than nothing, because he already admitted it was more than nothing. Otherwise, he would have just said it was nothing. I don't know how to explain this to you. But for an outsider, this 30 minutes was bad. And a lot of you guys are looking at it as like he completely wiped them off the planet, like they have nothing against this guy. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. Spend your time doing something more valuable than defending someone that is acting like this when something so sensitive comes out. He's not even willing to just lose the character for like, I understand, as I said at the beginning, why he's not doing it. But when you're leaning into character traits, when dealing with these type of accusations, I feel like you're a shitty person. I just feel like you're a shitty person. So, yeah. Just be careful out there, especially if you have kids, and tell them don't have any private conversations with like celebrity streamers or whatever.